All right. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Kicking It with the Kandemiris. It's been
Yeah.
a very long time. Our lives have been busy. We moved, we had more babies.
Wow. Wow. Corona babies. All right.
We're back, guys. We're back. And today we want to discuss what we want to call the marriage job description. And we got this idea from, if you are a fan of Big Bang Theory, you know Sheldon's relationship contract, where he underlines all the expectations that he has for his partner or whoever is in some kind of relationship
Yeah.
with, and the person signs as an agreement. And we thought to ourselves, isn't that a great idea for a
Absolutely.
marriage? To outline expectations, to outline what goals you have for your marriage. What does your marriage look like? What do you want it to look like? What's the atmosphere you want to create? So we want to talk a little bit about that today.
Absolutely. I think at the end of the day, we expectations are easier met when people know exactly what they need to bring to a relationship or a marriage, and it's so frustrating being in a marriage where deliverables are not clear.
Yeah.
You know, it's a mess when deliverables are not clear. So we just thought it would be great, and we love the Big Bang Theory. We watch it a lot at home. When we want to watch stuff together, we usually tend to go towards sitcoms,
Yeah.
Friends, and so forth. So we saw this idea. At first, it looks crazy. It absolutely sounds
It
crazy.
sounds
It sounds crazy, but there is absolute merit to it. And so we want to talk about that because we want to share things that we've implemented in our marriage and the benefit of those things to us and what value we see that, showing or benefiting other people who are connected to us. So we encourage you to create a job description for each other in your marriage and to actually be clear about, as a wife or as a husband, what's your job description? As a partner in a marriage, what's your job description? What are my expectations of you in this relationship, and how must it be done? And I think that is going to actually, it takes romance out of the way. It does take romance out of the way. But
it gives you
romance
what
is
you
gonna-
want.
Yeah, romance is going to go out the window anyway.
Yeah,
At some
yeah,
point.
at some
I mean, you're not going to be in your honeymoon phase forever. So this is actually better that expectations are clear and everybody knows where they
What they're
stand.
doing.
Right. I think it's important to note as well that a job description is not constant. Right. These change over time. They're going to be part of the changes that happen to us. I mean, my first job description was simply being a husband, right? And then it changed, and then now I'm a father in that home. And as it changes, whether you are an entrepreneur or you are a business person, or your job description is going to continuously evolve. So it's actually very important, I think, as well as we start that. Be very flexible with your job description. Take it seriously; it's very important. But also at the same time, as partners in a relationship, we actually have to say, hey, listen, is our job description still valid? Right?
In this season.
Yes, because a lot of the responsibilities we have are seasonal. They are going to be very seasonal. So it is not a constant thing. And it matters that we actually take that responsibility to develop as we change, we are all changing. So as we are changing, our job descriptions change as well.
Yeah. So with what you're saying, taking the example of someone who is an entrepreneur, like now I need to focus. I need to be a little more focused. I probably won't have as much time to spend, or I won't have expendable time. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. A 9 to 5 has defined time. Yes.
There's a time. Yeah, entrepreneur, it's on the go all the time. All crazy hours of the week. So as an entrepreneur, you'd probably need me to spend a little bit more time with the kids.
Absolutely.
Which means that responsibility lays more on me more than it does you.
On me.
Yes.
And at that season, then a job description says, hey, listen, I need you to support me this way.
Yes.
So yeah, absolutely. Entrepreneurship, parenthood.
Yeah, that parenthood definitely changes.
Absolutely.
stuff.
Family changes. I mean,
Yeah.
societal changes in terms of dynamics within our individual families. So, for example, being Africans, there can be requirements in our family homes that, we feel, okay, I need you to support me in this way, or this is part of your deliverables with my family or your family. I guess it's not even being African. It's just you marry people's family, right?
Yeah, you don't just
and
marry
so forth.
the person.
So there is going to be a need for constant change to it. But I think that then that brings in the need for check-ins.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely. And check-ins they're not just when the seasons change, but I think they should also be, at work, how you have to check in with your manager on a quarterly basis.
Yeah.
So you can define for your marriage how often these check-ins need to happen.
Okay.
But it can't be maybe once a year, because the first time you come into a contract, you are outlining the expectations. You are outlining your needs. And then the second time, you need to be like, okay, so this is what we've done so far. Is it working? Has it worked? What hasn't worked? And then you start to change certain things. If it didn't work, how can we change it to actually make it work for us? So those check-ins definitely do become important. So I'd recommend at least three times in a year that you guys would need to do those check-ins with each other and to find out where the person is mentally.
No, but babe, check-ins are performance appraisals of
Yeah.
sort. But I mean, check-ins are, I mean, if as part of a JD, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we are saying job description is something that happens daily. These are my daily deliverables.
That's my daily,
right?
yeah.
So for example, isn't this supposed to be like much more frequent? Like
The check-ins.
the check-ins, yeah. I mean, like weekly. We have like weekly check-ins.
Okay.
We have date night, and we have those instances where we say, babe, this I wasn't okay with.
Okay.
I would think check-ins should be more the frequent weekly
Okay.
things, and then 3 times a year or 4 times a year we can do our like a KPIs and our performance appraisals. And
Yeah.
like, listen, I'm not happy with this, but I think that the check-ins, because we have a schedule in our house, right, where Friday is our date night, and then we get to talk about things like that.
Yeah.
Things that affect our lives daily. And as part of that, then I suppose it is necessary to a certain extent, to check in. Are you okay? What's going on in your life? What is happening in our marriage that you're not, 100% happy with?
Yeah.
But I think it's not it's more like a dipstick. You check your engine and your car.
Regularly.
Yes.
Yeah.
As frequently as you can to make sure there's water, to make sure there's oil.
Yeah.
But it's not like a full service.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
No, I get what you mean. I get what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, we need to do a service like every 3 months.
Yeah.
I think that it'll be tedious to do that. But I do think check-ins need to be like regular,
Yeah.
weekly, every other week, and like where we just sit down and say, what's the temperature? Are we
Yeah.
good? Me and you vibing and stuff. We do check-ins as frequently as possible. Even with sex, by the way,
Yeah.
sex, we have a check-in, like a diary of sort, where we're like, so what was great last time, what didn't work last time, and we do this regularly.
Yeah.
This is a thing. So I think I want to differentiate there between our check-ins and our evaluations. Our check-ins and our evaluations. Our check-ins are a lot more frequent, but
And are you okay?
yeah,
Yeah. Check-in is a
good?
little bit, are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you in the right kind of space? What do you need?
Yes.
Yeah.
Am I best supporting you right now in my day-to-day stuff, because that's part of my JD,
Yeah.
right? But the evaluations are a little bit more hectic. I think the evaluations are a little bit more stressful as well, because evaluations can be quite brutal. They're not pleasant.
Yeah.
They're not very pleasant, and evaluations are necessary because they help us not to take each other for granted. I think one thing I learned in my entire life in marriage is that it's easy to take each other for granted.
Definitely. You're just used to this person being there. Now you're just there.
Yeah,
Like,
you take it like, man, like you are the most important person in my life. But there are times when it's just like, man, like,
I'll come tomorrow, you're there. I
yeah.
come the next day, you're
It's not a
there.
big deal. So I think those are important.
Yeah.
As frequently as we can do them. They are also very draining. I mean, we have those conversations sometimes at night.
Yeah.
It's like late at night,
And you
then
don't sleep.
we don't sleep that night, and we are just talking, and all the other stuff over the past month or two comes up, and those nights are quite hectic, and the relationship is also very fragile that time, you know, because also we are, I don't know what's the word.
Still trying to
Figure
it out.
And some things really hit your ego.
Yes,
time,
absolutely.
You know, so it's that moment where you're like, oh, okay, cool. Like, or I have a lot to work on.
Yeah.
I've been slacking here. I need to improve that and stuff. But I think a job description will be an incredible asset or tool in your marriage as well. I mean, for us, it's been such an incredible thing in our marriage.
It has.
For that. And I think maybe you can share a little bit about feedback, the necessity of feedback during those periods of evaluation. It's just, I think it's such a necessary thing as well to be like, to also learn how to give feedback.
Feedback, yeah. I actually wanted to say that, okay, I forgot what that point you just made, and you just made that point. But, oh yes, you said it can be a blow. There's some of the evaluation can kind of be a blow to your ego.
It's not always nice.
And it's not always nice to hear, but I think the way you deliver something to a person matters. Sometimes in our hurt and in our feelings of not having our expectations met, we can be frustrated, and that frustration comes through in a negative way.
In a hurtful way.
And in a hurtful way.
Absolutely.
To the other person. So we need to then learn our partner's communication style and how they receive certain information, right? And I need to be able to say, hey, I wasn't happy about that, without making you feel like, oh my gosh, you're the most horrible husband I have ever met in my entire life. Like, how could you, don't shame a person. This is not what this is about. You don't want to shame someone. You want them to be in a kind of space where they feel safe to receive something that may not be so great or feedback that may not be so great from you.
Absolutely.
And you want them to be able to meet that need for you, but deliver it nicely.
I think so. Look, like it takes a lot, particularly from men, to receive criticism in a way that makes me want to continue to do.
Okay.
So feedback is difficult, yes. And yes, delivery is important. Nobody can hurt you as much as your partner.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like walking on eggshells the whole time. I'm trying to make sure you don't say something that hurts this person so much that they won't want to do it. And especially if you're dealing with people with bruised egos.
Yes.
But I do think there is a need for us to, and as part of learning my partner and understanding my partner, having to say, whoa, okay, cool, this person needs this kind of delivery. She needs this kind of delivery. And so I can say, I'm not happy about how you're not giving me time without making you feel like you've failed completely. But also beyond that, to communicate frustration, because remember, everybody's speaking from frustration. To communicate frustration without making it like, okay, so I'm so deeply frustrated with you and something is wrong with you. I think it goes back to the conversation of labels versus...
So it's more like you're frustrated at the action, not frustrated
person.
at you.
Yes.
I'm just frustrated at that action.
The action, yes. And that's being able to wash out, to clean out the baby, throw out the diaper without throwing the baby out as well. But beyond that, the action itself may not even be wrong. Sometimes it's just how it makes us feel.
Okay.
Right? I mean, if you really think about it, there are certain things in our marriage that have happened where you say, babe, I don't like that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's normal. That's normal. It's just normal. I'll give you an example. I'm a loud person. I talk a lot. I talk loud. And she she doesn't talk loud. When I'm excited, I'm expressive and I use my hands. And I said to her last time, because she was like, babe, I don't like it when you raise your voice. I raise my voice when I'm passionate, when I'm excited. She, on the other hand, wants to keep maintaining this baseline. So one of the conversations we've had is the issue of raising our voice. And I remember a long time ago, I dated this one lady, and when we were dating, she used to get frustrated because I would speak with my hands. And to her, it was violent, it was aggressive. But as a speaker, I've spoken my whole life in front of people. You are taught that people are uncomfortable with people who speak with hands like this. And so use your hands expressively to communicate what you are saying.
Okay.
And so one thing to me is it's important that I talk with my hands.
Yes.
To the other
someone
person,
else.
it's you are being aggressive.
Aggressive.
And the action is not necessarily wrong. It's the interpretation and the feeling that it gives to the person.
Absolutely.
So not everything that is being communicated through feedback is specifically wrong, but it's the emotion that it conjures up or brings up in other people.
It's an experience.
Absolutely.
I think it's the experience that, because for me, when someone raises their voice, they are shouting at me, and I feel stupid.
Okay.
At that time.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I am so dumb. Like, why do you need to raise your voice?
Yeah.
To me, because I've always felt that way. Even when I was young, like my mom shouts at me and I feel like I am so dumb. Like, oh my gosh, don't shout at me. So I hate being shouted at or feeling like I'm being shouted at. So when you raise your voice,
it's inadequacy. I'm communicating that you're not intelligent, you're not smart.
Yes. So for me, that's a trigger. But now that's something we worked out.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the point is on the feedback. Most of these are conversations we've had. We've had to navigate this.
Yeah.
But I think it's a very crucial tool for someone to walk away with and say, whoa, okay, I get that. This is where I'm clashing with my partner. I've been saying this, but they've been hearing something completely different. Because that's the problem. The problem isn't that you're speaking. The problem is that when there has to be a way for me to say, are we actually sending the right message?
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's the reality is now that all our communications are encrypted.
Yeah.
You know, we're saying, babe, I don't like food served this way. But what you're really saying is, growing up, I associated this with poverty.
Yeah.
You know, I'm saying, babe, I don't like it when you say this, when you use that word. But that's not actually what I'm saying to you. What I'm really saying is, this word is a derogatory term where I come from.
Okay.
And so having to learn to decode that, a lot of people need a psychologist to sit down with them and a third party to give them that, but there isn't always one. You know,
not everyone has an opportunity to see one.
Yes, nobody has that. And sometimes there's no, I saw this post on Facebook the other day. This lady posted, she says, I'm looking for a Christian counselor to counsel us, and we don't have money.
Okay.
We do not have money for a counselor. So there are many reasons why sometimes I can go out and drive out and sit with a counselor and talk to them, because maybe I can't afford the bill.
Yeah.
But the truth is, I need that information to say, hey, wait, where are we going wrong?
Yeah.
We love each other, we are committed to each other, but somehow
we are clashing.
it's just not happening, And so I think feedback is important.
Yeah.
But I think a key takeaway out of this for me is that needs change and requirements change.
Yeah.
So a lot of our job description is just dynamic.
Yeah.
Our relationship is dynamic.
You must be agile.
Yes. Agility is so important, and our ability to say, okay, let's tackle this in different ways. But I think the biggest question is why.
Okay.
Right. I think the biggest question is why. Why is a job description important for a person who is watching us at home?
Yeah.
Would you share with us a reason, starting with why should someone why should someone care? Maybe.
Okay. First of all, I think it's a good way to manage expectations.
Okay.
Most of our disappointments in our relationships is because we have these expectations, we don't communicate them, but somehow you must meet them. And when you don't meet them, I'm now disappointed at you and you're such a horrible person, but I didn't tell you what I want in the first place.
Absolutely.
And it's that I don't know if it's an African thing once more, or it's just a societal thing where we all were not taught the art of communication so well. Because it's like even with sex, for example, we get disappointed in the bedroom when someone doesn't knock your socks off,
Yeah.
but you did not say, no, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Or this is what I actually do like. You understand? So
And someone is supposed to guess
yeah.
what you want.
Yeah.
And
It's
deliver
like-
it.
it's like-
exactly
Yes.
as you see it in your head.
It's like those jokes that people like to make on social media that, when a woman gets mad and then the man must just guess why you're mad.
why you're mad, yeah.
That is a problem. That is actually a problem. And I was like that. We had that problem. I'm
supposed to read
mad.
minds.
Yes, you just do the silent treatment, and you will figure out that I'm mad when I'm. But as time went by, I realized this is not healthy. It's not a healthy way to relate
express
with the person, and it wastes so much time because you are busy waiting, and you could wait for days because some people are not as attentive as you would like them to be.
Absolutely.
And you can wait for days just doing silent treatment, and this person doesn't get it. You've wasted days with the person that you love, not being with them, not connecting with them. And that's one of the things that I learned, is that this is my best friend. I want to talk to my best friend all the time. I can't. So when we have a little clash, sometimes,
situation.
when we have a situation, now I am able to go immediately, or when I feel a little calmer, and I do not make it days anymore. Like, I want it to be immediate because I
Resolved,
need to
yeah.
be with my best friend.
Absolutely.
So those are the kind of things that you kind of learn as you go along. But managing expectations is so good. So that's why this description is good, because it says, okay, so this is what I expect from you. And you also let me know, can you meet them? Can you meet those expectations?
And how
How
far?
can you-
How
yes,
far
how far
do that?
can you meet those
I guess that's
expectations?
important. And I think I can add a little point there. It's worse when it's coming from two people. You have unmet expectations.
Yeah.
I have unmet expectations, and we are meeting in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah.
frustrated with each other, with everybody just saying, I thought he would. He was
Yes.
supposed to. She was supposed to. She didn't do that.
Yeah.
I'm upset because you don't cook the way I want that done. And you're upset because in the bedroom it's not exactly how you pictured it.
Yeah.
And you had all these roses, and, and stuff.
And the candles.
And then suddenly there's a whole bunch of holes in our relationship
Yeah.
that are not clearly defined. And also, because without a job description, I guess as point number 2, goal. What's my goal?
Yeah.
What are we aiming for?
Yes.
How do we know when we get there?
Yes.
Because, and I think this is why there's a constant trajectory of dissatisfaction in marriages.
Yeah.
Where are we? What are we aiming for? And how do we know when we get
We
there?
get there. What does it look like?
So it always feels like something is missing. It always feels like there's something completely broken in our marriage,
Yeah.
because somehow we never get to a point where I say, I'm happy.
Yes.
I'm happy with our marriage and stuff, because I have expectations and there are a bunch of them. You have expectations and there are a bunch of them, and none of them ever get met.
Yes.
So it's like there's no small goal. Like, we achieved this.
Yes.
We've tackled that, and
Yes.
we've passed that. And that's why some people are married for a long time, but they're not better
Yeah.
in years.
Yeah. And that's how I think some people end up in divorce. Like you say, you've been together for 15 years. And what happened?
Exactly. Because nothing was getting better. Goals are important. I think that defining outcomes is important.
Yeah.
And I think that's the second part of this, which is it's important that we are able to actually define outcomes.
Yeah.
And so we can actually reach satisfaction.
Yes.
Because a lot of people are dissatisfied, and their dissatisfaction is unwarranted.
Yeah.
If I don't know what's going to make you happy, then it's hard for me to actually say, and I think it comes back to the conversation we've had about figures, right? If we want to make money,
Yes.
if I want to make a lot of money with you, and
Yes.
we're going to be rich as a family, right? Everybody wants to be rich. But what is rich?
How much?
How much? How much money are we aiming for
Yeah.
as a part of our financial, our marriage, JD? As a family, we want to work at earning 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 rand a month standard.
Yeah.
All right. This is our goal. Our expenses roughly are here. We want to make sure this much is in savings.
Yeah.
So when we've achieved that goal, it's easier for me to come back and say, babe,
Celebrate.
yes, we've achieved it.
Yeah.
And so people want a wealthy partner who's making money,
Yeah.
but there's still no actual description
Yeah.
of what this person is supposed to do.
Yes.
And I think that goals are the next reason why we do that. It helps us set clear goals.
And on top of that, having our needs met is the benefit that you get
Absolutely.
from having a job description.
Absolutely.
When your needs are met, I mean, what?
I've told you what they are,
Yes.
and you've done it.
Yeah.
And so there's no more
There's
conversation.
no reason.
Yes.
There's
Absolutely.
no reason for.
It's really that simple.
Yes.
Job description simply just makes sure needs are met. And when they are met,
We are happy.
You're happy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Then we can say happy wife, happy life.
Yeah. Happy couple, happy
Happy
life.
couple, happy
Yeah.
life, yes.
All right. Let's see. Accountability. Talked about accountability a bit. I think which is the core part of our relationship is being able to come back and say, I'm failing here.
Yeah.
And we do job descriptions in our workplaces where if a certain objective is not being achieved,
Yeah.
it's easy for me to come back and say, I'm struggling to keep this objective because,
Okay. Yeah.
right? And in our relationship, it makes it easier for me to come back and say, and I'm no longer accountable to you.
Yeah.
I'm accountable to our process, the process we agreed on.
Yeah.
A lot of the times when we are doing like counseling and stuff with couples, one of the things that's very important is to create a standard
Yeah.
and then make everybody responsible or accountable
To
to
the
each
standard.
other for the standard, right? And not necessarily accountable to our whimsical ideas and
Yes.
whimsical needs in the moment. If you think about it, it's hard for me to be accountable to you
Yeah.
because you change, right?
Yeah.
So accountability is needed because then we are accountable to the document we formulated together, right? So we've got on our document, we've got a document, well, a notepad,
A notepad.
on our phone, each of us that has these things that we do, right? So, for example, bedtime for the kids is at 8. Our bedtime is at 10. We pray together. It's part of the documented
Yes.
process of our job description. Friday is date night. Friday night is date night. Saturday
is alone time.
is alone time, one of us. So
Yeah.
one of us gets to be alone, go out, do whatever, drive away, spend the day there, recharge, because it's a lot. We have got 3 kids running around making so much noise. So it's a lot for us individually. And then Sunday is family day. So we then spend time with each other as a family. We go out, we do that, we cook. I cook on a Sunday. We do all of that as part of the deal. And there are also other structures. So we must study, we must learn, we
Yeah.
must open our books and we hold each other accountable
To that.
as well as detailing what happens, for example, between 8 and 10. It's
Yes.
our time alone.
Yeah.
It's the time when we get to spend time with each other. If there's any sexy time, it's at between 8 and 10 p.m., right? So
Yeah.
don't call me between 8 and 10, okay? Cool. And we work out. If we're working out, between 8 and 10 and stuff. And even when it's hard, because
Yeah.
I know sometimes you're saying, okay, it's starting to get hectic, doing this every single day.
Yes.
So
we
we
had
then
to change.
had to change that and say, okay, so what days do we work out? Because we can't work
Yeah,
out every single day,
day.
and stuff like that. So all of that is part of our job descriptions, including how we manage cooking in the house, how we do all of that stuff. So it does really help with accountability.
Yeah.
It helps a lot with accountability. And I don't know if you have anything to add on that point.
I do. I think also it helps us to define not just what we need, but how am I gonna do? How should I do this?
How? Yes.
How do I meet that need for you?
Absolutely.
Because I can say, maybe I want you to be romantic. Okay. What does that mean?
Yes.
How? What does romance look like to you?
And I think this is important because for us, when we were talking about romance, right? Bongeka insisted that, for example, we must create a space for romance. She wants us to create a mood or an environment for romance. But remember, we are already coming out of an environment where we have these loud kids running up and down. And back then, they used to sleep late. Right? They used to sleep late and they're with you, sitting with you in the room and stuff like that. So when the lights are off and I'm trying to get some, and then she's like, but you didn't create an environment. It's hard for me to be accountable to that when our lifestyle doesn't support what she wants. Right? And I think that's an example of that.
Which is why we changed it. Which is why now the kids go to bed
early.
At 8 o'clock. And we know 8 to 10 is you and me. If I'm giving you a massage, I'm giving you a massage. And
if that environment is being created, both of us are creating that.
Yes.
Because back then it was, you are not creating.
The responsibility is on you. Why are you not doing this for me? You need to do this for me.
Yeah, marriage is very interesting, guys. It's
is.
tricky. It's very hectic. And if you're not careful, it breaks because of poor management.
Yeah.
And this poor management is not anybody's specific fault. It's us failing to do that with each other. You know, so it's very crucial that these conversations are had with each other. And we have one last point on our why.
Or what do we put in our... what do we include in our job description? What does it look like? Like, let's be specific. A job description has a mission, right? What's our mission? We want to have a great marriage.
Absolutely.
What does a great marriage look like? What does it take to create a great marriage?
I think that's a great idea. Okay, what's in the job description? Roles and responsibilities.
Yes.
Right, roles and responsibilities, particularly within our context. Okay, we
not
come
not
from
like a man-woman thing.
Yes.
Like the man mask, the woman mask.
Okay, so roles and responsibilities are very crucial to be outlined. I think that matters because a lot of us come from cultural environments and backgrounds that determine stuff.
Yes.
Okay, so a woman must cook and look after her family,
the kids
and so forth. But if I'm good at that,
changed.
If I'm good at that, or in order for me to support your career, as an entrepreneur, I need to be at home more, and I'm gonna be at home much more of the time. I don't want you to come home at 8 p.m. where the kids are supposed to be sleeping,
and they're still running
I'm waiting for you to cook food.
Yeah.
And so the roles and responsibilities are very important from the context of our relationship specifically. Like for us, what works?
Yes.
You know, if I'm the better chef, I would rather cook. Right.
And I am the better chef. So
She
I
is.
would rather, I prefer my own food.
But
I don't like people cooking for me.
To enjoy
but
cooking.
he's enjoying cooking very much, which is why we implemented Sunday. But like most times his meals are pretty good. Like they are actually good.
I'm getting
they
better.
are different. They are very different because he tries all kinds of of recipes.
I appreciate.
But you know, sometimes they turn out pretty good.
Absolutely.
The other night wasn't so great, but
yeah,
I know he can improve.
And also very importantly, thank you for bringing up the other night because that was a train smash. I mean, the soup was watery and everything just didn't work out. Like nothing worked out.
Yeah.
But even the feedback was, she didn't even have to tell me the food was bad. I knew the food was bad. But the way it was communicated was so important. In a way that encourages me to actually continue to do that.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, I'm coming out of this environment and having to relate with her at that level of, okay, this sucks, but let's do better. Let's do better. And I mean, it's scriptural at best. A soft answer turns away wrath.
Yeah.
You know, there are certain fights that happen in our marriages simply because we just don't know how to answer each other, because we don't know how to speak to each other. So it's a very, very important thing in our roles and responsibilities in our job description that we actually get to be held accountable to the roles that we play within the roles of each other, whether you are a businesswoman, an entrepreneur, a wife, a mother, you know, whatever you are doing, it actually matters that in any way you feel that every aspect of your person is supported by me.
Yeah.
Every role you play in your life, every responsibility you play in your life is supported by me. And in the same sense, all of my roles, my responsibilities, my tasks are managed.
Yeah.
The job description should go even further to people with a very different context to ours. I mean, there are parents with children outside of their immediate marriage, right? And you can imagine how helpful this would be to say, how can I help you support your children out there? You know, because we don't often do that. We don't often cater to that. We don't cater to people in marriages who have very complex setups.
Situations.
You know, an ex-wife.
Co-parenting with someone else.
Co-parenting. It's brutal. But it's important then we say, okay, as a partner, what are your roles and responsibilities towards my other children? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy. And it's not a context we have.
Yeah, it's not.
So we can't share much about that. And I think in the future, when we have conversations, we'd love to bring in other couples
who have
will
those
come in and share a specific topic. But for us, it's not there. But contextually, we share what we know and what we have. There are couples without children.
Yep.
You know, and their roles and responsibilities are simpler to define and so forth. I know a couple that have been struggling for over a decade to have kids, and their context of roles and responsibilities is completely different to ours, you know. So absolutely, roles and responsibilities are part of the things that must be included in that job description.
All right. Job descriptions leave room for discovery.
Okay.
Because we have outlined our expectations. We know what our goals are. How we're going to do it. Sharp, we are going. But when we now do our check-ins, our evaluations, our whatever feedback sessions that we have, as time goes by, as even our roles change, then we discover one another.
Okay.
I mean, when we first got married, for example, it was just the two of us. It was simpler. You know, we just cook food for two people. Some days you make a sandwich. It's all good.
Yeah. You make a sandwich and go to bed. And it's great.
Yeah.
It's the two of us.
But now I'm a mother, and now you get to see a whole other side of a person.
This person.
Their expectations are now have changed. And even the romance kind of changes, because now romance to me is not the fact that you brought me flowers or chocolate. Romance to me is, let me take the baby so you can nap for an hour.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
And also romance changes as well. Not only romance, but finance. Finance changes. So for example, it is easier when you're dating to say, hey, I just bought you flowers worth $2,000.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, okay, that's great.
Nice,
that's fine. It's romantic, and I filled up the whole house with balloons and flowers, and it's like great. But as the joke, I remember the joke we talk about movies and how these guys romantically in movies, they just throw everything on the table on the side, and then they do it on the table.
It's not realistic.
It's romantic in a certain context. In a family, in a home, you can't just sweep stuff off the table. Who's gonna clean that?
Exactly.
You know, that's a
Everyone
whole conversation.
is too tired to
like,
do that.
dude, who's supposed to clean that?
Yeah.
And so the sweeping gestures of romance are very different then, because if I'm to spend $2,000 on flowers, and I actually have to think about what that means for the financial, complications of our home.
Yeah.
You know, I genuinely have to think about that. Like, oh, wait a minute, what does this mean for our house financially?
Yes.
And what could be a sweeping gesture of romance in one context can be financial irresponsibility in another
context.
You get my point?
Absolutely.
Because then certain questions come up like, wait, but babe, this is a little bit much.
Yeah.
You know, and this doesn't come from me, the buyer. It comes from you, the recipient. Like, wait a minute. Are you telling me you took this much money? You took 10K out of our family finances to do this, you know? And it's like, there has to be a process of that. Yeah. And that means that I agree. We have to then look from a perspective of discovery.
Yeah.
What does this mean in our job description? How is this going to change? How is this going to change how we relate, how we love, how we talk, how we, all of that stuff. And then contextually bring it to, okay, now that we are there, so what does that actually genuinely mean for us in our relationship? And as we are discovering these new roles, what do I look like as a romantic, as a father as well? What does it look like for you as a mom who's now a romantic? Because now, remember, before it was just guidance, the romantic, but now it's guidance, the entrepreneur as a romantic, guidance, the father as a romantic, guidance, the businessman as a romantic, guidance, the pastor as a romantic. You know, that's now different. Every new role helps me now discover, oh, wait a minute, there's a way I need to do it as my person is evolving, as I am evolving as well. And so I still need to continue to bring the same deliverables, but my personality is changing as well in each part of the cycle. So that's a bit of a mess. You have to work that out. Actually, you genuinely have to work that out. But the beauty of it is, we talk about discovery as something you have to work out together.
Yes.
You know, you kind of have to work out discovery together. And we unfortunately don't have conversations after transition. It's so important. We had certain conversations when we were dating, but we never had those same conversations until after moments of transition.
Yeah, it was late.
You know,
luckily it wasn't late.
No, absolutely. But it got so bad, it affected our marriage to the point of, listen, I'm out. You know, we couldn't even get to such a point.
Yeah,
we
talked
talked
about divorce.
It. Absolutely,
we talked about it.
And because nobody told us that conversations must evolve after every transition.
Yeah.
When you get married, that's a transition. You have a conversation of discovery.
Yeah.
When you have a child,
first child,
you have a conversation. That's a transition. Something's changed. When your income changes,
yes,
that's a moment for conversation.
When
you start a new business,
roles change. Someone loses a job, transition.
Conversation. Sit down, have a talk, because you must always stay on the same page.
Yeah.
The minute you have conversations that are ongoing, the minute you have multiple changes, without a sit down to say, where are we? Let's where's the dipstick? You know, let's take the temperature, and where are we?
The frustration builds and builds and builds until
you are in trouble. So if you want to know when to change your job description after every moment of transition. Sit down, change your job description, adjust. That's the most important thing. And I think lastly, as a point, what's in this job description, I think experiences we need are important. Experiences we need are important. So we have complex conversations in our job description for experiences. What experiences do you want to have? I want to travel. You know, when we have sex, I want to do this. When we save money, I want to go out once or twice a month. When we are with our children, I also want to do this. I want to study. I want to, expand my horizons in this way. I think one of the most important needs for a job description is to just detail a roadmap in terms of what experiences are vital to us every day and what experiences we can do without. Some of the experiences are not hectic. I mean, you can do without them, but some of the core experiences are things that are needed for us to talk about and say, this matters to me. This matters to me. It's important that this is done, and that's why, for example, we have whenever we do our sex diary, we call it a sex diary. We got it out of that book. I forgot the name of the book.
Diaries.
Yes, actually, it's called Sex Diaries. It's called Sex Diaries. What these people actually did was to write down. We don't actually end up writing down, but we have a conversation
at that
about. Time. So when we had sex last night, what were your expectations out of that? What experience did you want out of that? Were you doing that because you just needed comfort? Did you do that because you needed? You just wanted to do it?
Wanted to have fun.
Was it just fun for you, or was it something that you needed that experience in a certain way, right? Were you in pain? Were you frustrated? Were you whatever? And was the outcome then achieved, right?
What was the outcome?
What was the outcome? All right, because again, so it's not an actual sex conversation, this one, but what the reason why that matters is because then our experiences are met, but also our JD then helps us to describe what experiences are necessary daily, and how that is translated in our everyday lives. So I think this is a great step to take.
I think it will make you happier.
Absolutely.
It will make you a much happier couple. You go out there and you know that, you know what, my things are working out at home.
Yeah.
I'm
happy.
Yeah.
We are happy in our marriage. And it's not a thing whereby I can actually step out and say, oh, my wife is not meeting my needs. How? When
it's been communicated.
Yes. I think this is a big issue for a lot of people, because then finally someone cheats and it's like,
what?
Yes. And so if it's not working, the job description tells you
it's not working.
Your thing is not working. And then you have clear deliverables in terms of what needs to happen. So we encourage you to try the job description.
Try it out.
We did it. It works for us. We are happy with it.
Yeah.
I think apart from the weirdness in having it for the first time, which is something we had to do, there's genuinely no complaints on our part concerning what our partner is doing. And so it really just live the Sheldon life. All right, live the Sheldon life. We
encourage the Sheldon life.
Yes, get yourself a straight up contract. It doesn't have to be written. I think it's great that it's written. It doesn't have to be signed contract that's submitted in a court of law.
You can just put it down on a notepad on your phone.
Yes.
And you check it out every now and then to see if you are still on track.
Absolutely. If it's every other Thursday, take me out, then take her out every other Thursday. If there's certain environment that needs to be created for good sex life, do so. Put it in the job description. If there's something that needs to be done at home, domestic stuff, do that. Put it in there. If there's something that I don't know, spiritually as well, praying, what we pray for, what we pray about, we realize that our prayers are more powerful when we're together. And so we do that. We are learning to actually create time for prayer. It's part of our diarized day, to say early in the morning we are praying, right? And when we are tired, we know, babe, I'm exhausted today. Can we try do it tomorrow? And that's fine. And that's not part of our personal prayer life.
That's just together.
I don't interfere with a Bible study time. It's her Bible study time. And I have a different weird Bible reading schedule.
Stuff is weird.
So
I'm asleep.
So that's exactly it. So it's important then that you find a healthy way to create that through a job description.
Yeah. So guys, try it. Take out your notepads. Take it out now. Go show your partner this video, as a matter of fact. Go show your partner this video and just be in it together, man. As long as you guys are here. Yeah. Like we are on the same page, it'll work. Yeah. If only one of you is in it and the other one isn't, you have a bit of a problem.
It's trouble.
It will be a struggle if the other person is not willing. But if you are both willing and you are saying, listen, I was at my wit's end, try this marriage contract, marriage job description. And maybe let us know how it goes after a couple of months. You can comment, you can come back and comment 6 months later and tell us what happened.
Absolutely. God bless you guys. Have a great one. We are a Christian couple. We love God. We want to share the experiences that we've had.
But real ones.
Real experiences.
Real experience.
We're gonna be raw. We're gonna be unfiltered. But we are sharing what we've had, what we've experienced in our 5 years of marriage. We're a young couple. We have 3 kids, and we want to share what we've experienced in this relationship with each other and some of the solutions to that. We have the strangest conversations. I mean, if you were a fly on our wall,
you would think, should Christians be having such a conversation?
But that was the problem. We had, even as a pastor, I've pastored for over 8 years. There's certain things I've never been able to say on a pulpit because of the nature of those things. And so we wanted to create a healthy place to talk about stuff without making people feel weird or uncomfortable with this stuff. So we're going to use hectic language. We're going to use what it is. If it's a penis, it's a penis. If it's a vagina, it's a vagina. It's strange because I've never said vagina on a pulpit, but it's important, and we started learning, especially in our culture. We come from a culture that is so numb to certain truths.
And so, oh no, don't say that.
And created a taboo around certain topics. So this is what you're gonna get out of this channel.
Yeah.
It's part of our discipleship. It's part of us sharing truths about the Word of God and about life and about marriage with you, so you can actually get to become whole.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter how well you're doing at work.
can
If
be
your
the-
marriage is a crappy place, it's hard to be happy.
And there's no prayer in the world that will make your
Absolutely.
marriage work
Absolutely.
if you are not working at it.
Absolutely. And people like throwing scriptures and stuff. That's not the answer. The real answer is build intentionally. And so that's what we are hoping to help you do through this channel.
Absolutely.
All right. God bless you guys. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.